Hello, guys. This is Fred. There is something special in you. There is greatness in you. I do have stories. You do have stories. All successful businessmen and women from all walks of life, they do have stories as well. And that is all I have for you. This channel is all about stories and nothing more. Today, I'm going to be talking about consistent self-discipline. Consistent self-discipline. And I would really love you to take a honest assessment of where you stand right now in terms of discipline. Consistent self-discipline. What is the first thing that phrase make you think of? Unfortunately for most people, the term conjures up the images of strictness, boring, long stretches of work, self-denial, self-sacrifice. Nothing could be further from the truth. Truly consistent self-disciplined people are not suffering from any kind of deprivation, self-denial, or self-sacrifice. In fact, they have learned to give themselves true joy that comes from pursuing their goals, achieving their dreams, and cherishing their ambitions. Consistent self-discipline. It is the bridge between wishful thinking and accomplishment. Consistent self-discipline. It is the magic catalyst that gives substance and depth to your ambitions. Consistent self-discipline. We need it. We need it in our lives. The moment we incorporate consistent self-discipline into our lives, we will feel like a lean, hungry lion who's just been freed from temporary captivity, proud and aggressive, equipped with instincts and tools for survival. Do not wait for things to deteriorate so drastically that someone else must impose discipline into your life. Wouldn't it be tragic? We eat bad, we make poor choices, we date wrong people, we engage in habits that are blatantly self-destructive, then we blame on that entity called the devil. My life and my life, your life, it is either going to serve as a warning or an example. God has given each one of us the prerogative power to make right choices in our lives. If we violate this power, prerogative power rather, we will have no one else to blame but ourselves. Consistent self-discipline. It is the ability to work systematically and automatically and progressively towards a goal until we reach it. Consistent self-discipline, as a matter of fact, it is a biblical extension concept that says whatever man sows, so shall he reap. Galatians 6:7. Consistent self-discipline. You need it. I need it the most. If we will ever achieve anything in our lives, consistent self-discipline. It is the iron will. It is the inner drive to achieve success in our lives. Today, unfortunately, we live in a society where the old-fashioned effort isn't appreciated. We live in a quick fix society where nearly everyone wants to become successful overnight. People spend their money as soon as they make it. Little wonder people are not getting anywhere in life. They spend their money on instant gratification through material things. Consistent self-discipline. It is all you need. It is all I need. Without consistent self-discipline, the life will lose its meaning. Undisciplined people, they have the vaguest images set in their minds of what they want, what they could be, in their lives. Could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? What one thing or two things that could you actually change that could, alter the trajectory of your destiny? Discipline. It is the only way to go. If you would ever achieve whatever you desire in your life. Could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? And what one thing or two things that could you actually change that could, alter the trajectory of your destiny? Harry S. Truman sagely remarked, "In reading about the great men, I found that the first victory that they won was over themselves." Discipline with each one of them came first. Robin Sharma sagely remarked, "Discipline is built by consistently performing small acts of courage." Buddha substantially stated, "It's better to conquer oneself than to conquer 1,000 battles." The habit of discipline virtually guarantees success in every areas of our lives. Ralph Waldo Emerson said something like this: "Everything comes to them that wait." Consistent self-discipline, it is patience. The great artist Pablo Picasso was once approached by an admiring woman in a restaurant. Having recognized him, she asked him to draw something, anything, on a napkin for her. She told him she would pay him whatever he thought it was fair if only he would provide her with an impromptu work of art. Picasso agreed and spent just 5 minutes to draw the picture on a napkin. When he was finished, the woman picked up the napkin in delight and asked, "How much is the picture?" Calmly, Picasso replied, "Only $10,000. Dumbfounded, the woman began to argue with him that a picture drawn on a napkin in just 5 minutes couldn't be possible that much. Picasso just smiled and said, "Madame, it may have taken me only 5 minutes to draw the picture, but it actually took me 40 years to learn how to draw the picture." 40 years. Doesn't it seem an interminable amount of time? Of course it is. To a drifter drifting through life without any definiteness of purpose or aim can seem an interminable amount of time, but to a master seeking the ultimate expression of his talent can seem to fly by overnight. Consistent self-discipline. Without consistent discipline, today we wouldn't be having lawyers, great artists, Olympic medal, gold winners, multi-millionaires, among many others in our society. Consistent self-discipline, it is the key to success. Consistent self-discipline, it is the bridge between wishful thinking and accomplishment. Consistent self-discipline, it is the magic catalyst that gives substance and depth to our ambitions. Could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? And what one thing or two things that could you actually change that could, alter the trajectory of your destiny? We spend long years in classrooms gathering knowledge from textbooks, collecting experiences. Now, why, in spite of our collective experiences and the knowledge that we have spent long years in classrooms gathering from textbooks, rather, do we fall short of our objectives? If knowledge is power, if knowledge is forerunner to success, why do we find ourselves aimlessly settling, wandering through life, settling for the life of existence rather than the life of substance? Well, there will be many answers to this question, but the fundamental answer to this question is the absence of discipline. Anything of value in our lives requires discipline. Children require discipline. Anything of value requires care and attention. Children must have structures built for them. They must have boundaries to work within so that they may feel secure and comfortable to explore and grow. Children must learn to recognize what's right and what's wrong. Children must learn how to behave. Children require unwavering discipline, or else they'll be confused as to how they are supposed to behave. Our minds requires discipline, unwavering discipline. It takes long years of study and internship to get a medical degree and set up a doctor's practice. It takes long years of seasoning and tempering to become a prima ballerina. It takes long years to study law in order to learn how to operate within our judicial systems and to learn the language of the court. Consistent self-discipline. It is the key to success. It doesn't really matter whether you graduated magna cum laude if you don't apply consistent self-discipline in your life. You'll just fail miserably, and the results that you seek on your daily basis will be sporadic and elusive. All successful businessmen and women, all great men and women, heroes and heroines, they incorporated discipline into their lives. And it is evident today, though it may go without saying, but let me say it anyway. The results are obvious. Consistent self-discipline. It saw them through meteoric rise to fame. When Henry Ford designed his Model A, he had a goal in mind. He wanted every American to own a Ford his car. But in those days, cars were hand-built, and time and effort involved in making one, resulted in a very expensive price tag. Ford knew he had to find a cheaper and easy way to build his cars. He thought out patiently and came up with a radical idea. One person on the line would just perform one task, enabling them to perform it quickly, and the entire machine would be assembled in record time. People laughed. They said it won't work, but Ford had spent a great deal of time planning it out in every detail. The assembly line became so successful that most industries began to use it as well. One man's idea and patient planning launched a new industrial era. Consistent self-discipline. Now contrast Henry Ford's single-minded pursuit with the profile of someone who isn't quite sure of what they really want in life. They're just drifting through life aimlessly. The jack of all trades. They have so many irons in the fire that they can't keep track of them all. Consistent self-discipline, at the end of the day, it is all you need. Imagine what life could have been like if we didn't have to make our beds in the morning or show up for work tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we really didn't have to do these things? Wouldn't it be fascinating? What do you suppose would become of us? You are right, not much. How could you possibly explain the fact that someone thought more of you than you thought of yourself? That they forced you to wake up early in the morning, brush your teeth, go to work, while you would have just, sat back and, watch success go to someone who thought more of themselves. Could things be the way they are because you were the way you are? And what one thing or two things that could you actually change that could, alter the trajectory of your destiny? When Christopher Columbus set out to find the new route to West Indies. The Europeans thought he was crazy. They told him the world is flat. If you sail off west, you will fall off the edge and be devoured by monsters. But Christopher Columbus believed that the world was round. He stubbornly applied to every monarch in Europe until he found one who would finance his voyage that turned out to be the New World. Consistent self-discipline. It is the key to success. Hello. My life and your life, it is either going to serve as a warning or an example. It takes the application of consistent discipline to change a habit. Habits are formed a little bit each day, every day. And once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable. They act like a nearly unbreakable instinct that only the application of consistent self-discipline activity can change. We must unweave the giant cable of discipline that has held us in bondage slowly and methodically until the cable that once held us in bondage becomes nothing more but scattered strands of wire. It takes consistent self-discipline to plan and to execute our plans. It takes consistent self-discipline to impose on ourselves the requirements for honoring these standards. If we don't apply consistent self-discipline in our lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and elusive. Consistent self-discipline. Kids need it. Men need it. Women need it in our lives. Consistent self-discipline, it is not a gift bestowed by providence on only a few rare endowed individuals, but it is available for each one of us, men and women. Kids can achieve it. Hello. As long as you are willing to develop the latent capacity and sufficient desire, you can achieve it. People imagine that talent is the key to success. Talent may play its part, but not the difference. We have millions of men and women wasting away with special gifts in their fields of endeavor, contributing very little to their own success or the good of mankind. Failure, it is not a cataclysmic event that happens overnight. Failure, it is a slow and imperceptible accumulation of small errors in judgment repeated on our daily basis over a prolonged period of time. We must learn to take care of small disciplines that life hands over to us before it hands over to us the major ones. Consistent self-discipline. In those days when your energy isn't up to par, your enthusiasm is a little low, and your ambition isn't pulling you, your attitude isn't on the high side, consistent self-discipline will see you through. Consistent self-discipline, it is the panacea of the ups and downs in life. The French have an expression, déjà vu. It simply means already there, already seen. All successful businessmen and women, all people who have achieved phenomenal success in their lives, they embraced the journey's end before they took one step. They saw where they were going. They had a template of a clear picture, a clear image of what they wanted, firmly set in their minds. They had the hallmark of a disciplined achiever. Consistent self-discipline. When they achieved their goals, they felt that sense of déjà vu. Consistent self-discipline. In 1869, a brilliant engineer by the name John Roebling Augustus designed the famous Brooklyn Bridge. It was a feat of engineering of its time. It was absolutely designed to stand out. It was going to be the first steel suspension bridge in the world. He began to overseeing its building, but the project had hardly begun when the elderly Roebling suffered a fatal accident and someone had to carry on. Guess who this someone turned out to be? Of course, the someone turned out to be his own son. Washington Roebling Augustus took over from where his father left off. After 3 years, he contracted the Caisson's disease that almost left him paralyzed in great pain and confined to a wheelchair for life from spending so much time underground. Most people could have given up the project under those conditions, but Roebling Jr. couldn't give up because he knew what he wanted. He persevered in spite of all the odds that stared in his face. He moved into an apartment in Brooklyn Heights that overlooked the bridge, where he used to work from his living room window from morning to evening, watching the work as it progressed, watching his messengers conveying his instructions forth and back to the workers on the bridge. He worked this way for 11 years until the bridge was officially opened in 1883. Roebling Jr., he knew what he wanted. Consistent, self-disciplined individuals. They are fueled by self-confidence, while undisciplined individuals, they are hampered by their own doubts. To state but a few quintessential examples, Donald J. Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, the list is endless. They demonstrated, they exhibited consistent self-discipline in their lives. And the results are obvious, though sometimes it may go without saying, but let me say it anyway. The results are obvious in their lives. Hello? Could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? Not one thing or two things that could you actually change, that could, alter the trajectory of your destiny. The great film actor Alfred Hitchcock said that the actual process of directing his film was almost anticlimactic for him. By the time production started on each of his films, he had already visualized in his mind every frame, every camera angle, so clearly in his own imaginations that making the movie consisted of only just going through the motions. Hitchcock had the template of what he wanted clearly and firmly set in his mind. Consistent self-discipline. It is all you need, ladies and gentlemen. And you can achieve anything with consistent self-discipline in your life. I would really love you to take a honest assessment of where you stand right now in terms of consistent self-discipline as you watch this video and at the end of this video. Consistent self-discipline. It is all you need in your life. Hello. This is actually Freddy saying it has been a plum-pleasing pleasure and privilege as well to talk to you YouTube wonderful people. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos coming up. But as for now, God bless you and thank you so much for watching this video. But as for now, let me just say bye-bye. See you in the next video. Much love.